Okay. So as I was saying, and Armageddon, as you go down in this hole in Armageddon, there is, and at the bottom of that hole, right, is where we are now, right? As well. Hey, come over your line for a second. You have a cigarette? My last one. Oh, yeah. Swear to God, sorry. When I get some, I'll come back by. Thank you, brother. You know what I mean? Mankind is the enemies. So as I'm sitting here on Universe TV, right, like all these good, was it? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Soon as I start recording, all this, yeah, you literally keep me welcome on my stage, but the influence there, what's going on? Okay, so we got a vast amount of clairvoyant interference, and that thereof, as I have to expect that Satan's going to play his part on this stage of that. You got to understand he's on the, not quite on the human side of winning all of this, and that is the prosecution for its extinction. So I get stuck in a hard place with it now. All right, as an ambassador there, as a prosecutor for the extinction of the human race, in which, in that sense, there, because with all the damage that happened to me and what's going on, all of that, they say to me, you can be the prosecutor for the extinction of human race. And this is where Satan gets to come in and show me all this fucking shit they've been doing to me to this point in time, right? I'm like, right? So now, at that point there, as I'm coming out of there, I hit a roadblock, and the roadblock is right there, is a, uh, um, under under the penalty of death. But you to unextinct human race. I said, no, wait. But it's not funny, okay? So, getting back to on course, the subject of what we were talking about is what's going on in our past, what leads up to the present, and what's heading for us in the future in this arena. And I'm terrified there of what's going on. You know what I mean? You got it. So as I'm talking here, we have all this interference. Guy comes up, asks me for a cigarette. Now the lady comes over, she's got to make me move my cart, and now she's washing the top of the garbage can, right? And spraying the church. Now, now when you talk about interference with that, there on all of universe TV up there with their little eyes watching this, laughing as hard as they can of this the prosecution of the human race, with me just sitting here by myself with all of the universe watching what's going on with me, right? So we have to understand what we're doing in the arena of going from one loop, two loops, three loops, and six loops, in the sense of six dimensions that we're coming up and riding upon as I approach, right, uh, the present of all things going into on and stopping them. Okay? So that provides a border, right? A border there of which I got stuck on as the border am I being. And that's the border where, in a sense thereof, I define the difference between a boy and a dog at a particular age. Boy and a dog at a particular age, right? Where the dog and the boy have the same intellectual understanding of things, okay? You know what I'm saying? I gotta pause. Okay, we're back. So as I was saying, now she comes over with the radio, blasts it right here next to me, and this is all on Unity TV. They're having a blast watching it kind of from above, right? There's all this interference just starts coming in right on me right when I start recording, right? Okay, so as I said, we're back to the subject there. I'm back to speak to the whole universe here on the corner, right? Of the subject of Armageddon, how I end up being the highest white God in the universe, and what's going on here with the outside universe, what's the universe here on the ground, and uh, how I've been describing where I've won in the wars of Armageddon from there about the last samurai. So, so in there is two forbidden kingdoms. So think of this: I'm standing on a hill here in San Francisco. Again, is a space-time tunnel. The light reflects away from this point in the universe. All right, against away from it. So it's like the center of a void. As, as I said, really, it's still out the empty space. But that is more time passes in that outside period than passes when you come back here. So 10 hours pass here, 15 hours might pass out there, and you come back and say, well, where did that 3 hours of time go? And, right? So that ends up being a warping of space and space, warping of space and space from that time out there and time relative to here is a difference. And clearly there has to be some kind of mechanism in which that change can be transmuted into moving. It's like traveling without moving. This represents guitars. So as Armageddon, as I go down into Armageddon, somehow or another, I end up all the way down there at the bottom of this hill, the hole, which is in the future of the present top of the hole. Future. So it's after all of the Armageddon has happened, I've gone down a hole 5.7 billion years into our future, right? And wrote that back up here to this present. When more time passes out there than happens here. Same concept. Okay? So with that gigantic difference in space time, I need just one individual that went down that hole and survived coming out of there, the 5 1's power of death, carrying the 6 1's power of life to the present, right? Right? Represents a life group that went out, passed all of our again, and came back to this present in which, right, we arrived before we left. Right? Now, so when they all left, right, right, we would end up with whatever was there. Okay, what? Right? As long as we didn't interfere. As long as we didn't interfere. Okay? So therein lies the Cylon. Now the Cylon is that came back and arrived with me in my present, which there is no future of. No future of. So that made me the one, right? The one living present, right? That is both one and the same that went out and came back and arrived at the same time he left after. Well, always time is incrementing forward for Douglas, but he goes out there and he comes back. He never ever arrived before he left. So with all of that extra time everybody used out there going out and back with that mass, right? Now starts to warp space in and around me, right? And pulls me into a gigantic pinnacle of a spike of, of a point out of space time. And so, in order to, it caused a break in the hole in the universe in which I now can transmute from one place to another, right? Without transmuting into pure energy. right? So this is big stuff. You have no idea. So as I explain this to the universe, I'm going to make sure that that in the space time now gets started, you guys all get an idea what's going on here. So it's just okay. So as I came out of that hole, right? In a sense, that's where the fifth dimension is born, in and around cross time. Timelines going side by side by side. A parallel realms, which we call dimensions, right? Here in San Francisco, as opposed to the fifth dimension. So now that brings us down into a realm engine. Realm engine has the waters in and out, the quantity drops in and out, these near light speed collisions here in San Francisco, right? And the largest quantity drops in the universe, in which we had borders by where that as that expanded out, those realms that were once in a sense like bands on a roulette wheel, right? Right? Ended up going off the edge of those event horizons and forming worlds. Okay? So now, when that happens, those need to be able to traverse the timeline there, but then be able to traverse the timelines out there, right? And further, for each one of those cauldron drops of event horizon crossing an expanse with their singularity, right? There would be another essential relevance to expansion. So this gets back to the where I went down that hole and came out with 64 event horizon crossings and with the event horizon broken and the worlds round corners and worlds if they spun out in the states of the realm engine like a galactic core generator. Yes. All right. So you're making all of this up, right? Right, okay. All right. So as I was saying before, right, with all this, you might want to understand is that I got stuck down there, which somehow or another mankind broke the leaves. You should fancy that, okay? Now, this is where in the realm engine, right, because of that, there was a pullback in time in which mankind got out of there late. Right? So at the real point in time, which you understand, the student is they're battling, screaming right next to me, right? As I'm trying to do this. So, why right here, right? Just interference all about the time. All right. You know, right? Okay, so as I was explaining, then that would give you 64 break in an event horizon between universes. Okay, for each one of those broken event horizon crossings. So that brought me down, way down there in the expansion of the universe, right? In which I end up with the captain's chair of the galaxy. Now, the captain's chair of the galaxy, in a sense, is 17 quadrillion galactic galaxies that are, in a sense, anti-ground galaxies that are coming out of six universe collapses in which when I was on the way into those six universe collapses, all the dark matter of the known universe, right, began to declare me the emperor that I was on my way down in there, holding three-quarters of the known universe mass as their CG and Lagrange point, right? To see how close they could get me to the grand horizon, the crossing stuff, right? To get us all out of that hole. I was way too left go.